Back in the day, my workouts in the gym used to be 2.5 to 3 hours every single time. And now, these days, my workouts are like 15, 20 minutes max. And I can't help but think to myself, dear Lord, what in the world was I doing in the gym for almost 3 hours? Well, I know exactly what I was doing. I was wasting a lot of time and energy doing something that I see a lot of gym goers make, which is way too much repetitive redundancy in their training. When I got to the first gym I ever belonged to, I felt like a kid in a candy store because all this wonderful equipment, and I had just been doing push-ups and band work in my bedroom up to that point. So I'm like, oh, all this great stuff. All right. So every time I'm like, chest day, okay, we've got cable chest press, and we got dumbbell bench press, and barbell bench press, and machine bench press, and plate machine bench press. On the surface, it looked like I was doing different stuff because I was using different equipment. You know, a little hand position was a little different, or my angles were a little bit different and stuff. But ultimately, fundamentally, my muscles were doing the exact same thing every single time. 3 sets of 10, pretty close to failure. So what this redundancy does is, one, it wastes a lot of time and energy because you're not telling your muscles any new information from one exercise to the next. Plus, it also significantly can reduce your intensity because you got to pace yourself through all that volume. It's fine to add different exercises, but the key is to change how your muscles are working on the fundamental level from one exercise to the next. So point number one, simplest, change up the weight and intensity. If your first exercise is, let's say, high rep push-ups of sets of 20, go to something much heavier, like weighted dips or something, where you're really dropping down the rep ranges, so you're exposing the muscle to a lot more intensity. Or you could go the other way, where you go with something really heavy at first, and then you go with something a lot lighter, and triple or even quadruple the number of repetitions you're doing. Angle is another one that you can do. Now, ultimately, pushing is pushing regardless of the direction, pulling is pulling, but it can be a little bit more of a different stimulus if you go from rows to pull-ups or dips to handstands or overhead presses. And that way you're giving your muscles a little bit more of a different range of motion from one exercise to the next instead of just doing the same exact thing. Speed is another fun thing to do. So you could have really nice, slow, heavy dips, 5 by 5, but then you change it up to push-ups and you're doing explosive push-ups on the floor. So now it's a different angle and you're going with something a lot faster that's creating a very different stimulus from what you had before. And then finally, I recommend going from either bilateral to unilateral exercises. This works really well for the legs. So you could go from squats to split squats or lunges or vice versa. You can go from pull-ups to single arm rows. And doing that ensures that when you do the different exercise, you're exposing your muscles to a very different stimulus from what you had before. So it's going to be well worth the time and energy invested in that exercise rather than just doing the same thing over and over. And this approach works extremely well with my new 2-set workout strategy. The video's up here if you want to learn more about that to keep workouts much more compact and efficient, but also very effective. And if you have any further questions, please ask them down below in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff helps me out a whole lot, and I sincerely appreciate you watching. Till then, be fit, live free.